Well, remember Grammy-winning musician Irvin Mayfield and his partner Ronald Markham? Well, they admitted last year they took money from the Public Library Foundation and spent it on their salaries, fancy hotels, and more. They've now asked a federal court to let them pay $1.1 million in restitution to the court before they're sentenced for criminal conspiracy. But as they await sentencing, investigator David Hammer found Mayfield is getting support from unlikely places.
Almost 20 years ago, the mayor of New Orleans named musician Irvin Mayfield the city's official cultural ambassador. When presidents visited, Mayfield played for them with a special gold trumpet. He became chairman of the city's public library system, and then he won a Grammy. But in 2015, our exclusive investigation uncovered more than $1 million he and his partner transferred from the city's public library support charity to their own jazz orchestra. Mardi Gras floats imagined Mayfield in prison stripes. The Royal Sonesta Hotel ended its partnership with him at Irvin Mayfield's Jazz Playhouse. A federal grand jury indicted Mayfield and his partner Ronald Markham in 2017. And last year, the pair stood in a federal court and admitted they were guilty of a criminal conspiracy. They signed a document agreeing that they illegally transferred more than $1.3 million in public library donations to pay their six-figure salaries, as well as lavish hotel stays, a 24-karat gold trumpet, a performance at Carnegie Hall, and more. They face up to 5 years in prison, but now they're filing documents with Judge Jay Zaney, trying to convince him to issue a lighter sentence. And Mayfield is back to a regular gig at the Magnolia Mansion, where the owner says Mayfield's partner Sidney Hedgepeth operates the hotel. And at a sold-out show this past Saturday, Mayfield once again had the support of the city's mayor.
Let's continue to support a true son of the city of New Orleans, Irvin Mayfield.
The video was posted on Facebook by freelance journalist James Terrell.
I was shocked. I mean, my masked jaw was on the ground.
Dixon Stetler is executive director of the Friends of the New Orleans Public Library.
I don't understand. He pled guilty to taking $1.3 million, and I don't understand why we need to support him.
Stetler says the mayor's message is confusing for voters who rejected Cantrell's attempt to shift money away from the libraries last year and are now being asked to renew a library tax this fall. WWL political analyst Clancy Dubose agrees.
She ran as someone who was very pro-library, and then she put up a millage that was soundly defeated because it gutted the library budget.
Dubose said Cantrell needs to clarify what she meant by support for Mayfield. But when we asked the mayor to explain, a spokeswoman said no comment. Dubose said the mayor could say she just wants to support Mayfield musically. Stetler said there's no excuse even for that.
There are so many culture bearers in this city who deserve our support, who aren't stealing from the library.
David Hammer, Eyewitness News.
And Cantrell wasn't the only politician to speak in support of Mayfield at the Magnolia Mansion last Saturday. So did Sheriff Marlin Gusman. His spokesman said he had nothing to add about his comments.